Welcome to Rust Raiding Economics. My name is Rocco, I'm your guide. Let's get started. You want to raid someone because they killed you. You don't even know what tools or weapons to use. If you're a more experienced player and you know the methods, you still find yourself wondering how much something gonna cost to raid? In this series, I'm going to show you raiding techniques in Rust and especially their financial side. We are gonna go through the best methods for each building part, how to raid them, and how much it is going to cost you to do that. In the last episode, we talked about the metal shopfronts. If you didn't watch the previous episodes of the series, you should check them out as well. The links are in the description. Now you all know how to raid an average base through any type of doors and bring down all types of building blocks, break into compounds, and even raid metal shopfronts if necessary. In this 13th episode, we are going to talk about all the different turrets and traps. These are the next items on the list you should know how to raid. I'm sure all of you ran into or you will run into any or all of these at some point playing Rust. The method that you would destroy one depends on the turret or the trap. There are a few different kinds of traps in Rust, such as the wooden floor spikes, Beartraps, the landmines, and a few different turrets, such as the Flameturret, the shotgun trap, which is a trap in its name but acts more like a turret, the other turrets, and the SAM sites. First, let's see how they work. The wooden floor spikes could only be placed down outside on the ground. Both the snap or bear traps and the landmines could be placed in or outdoors as well. All of the turrets can only be placed on a foundation or any built surface and cannot be placed on the ground. All of these could be found and learned from the world or workbenches, except the SAM site that you can buy at Outpost for 500 scrap each. Let's go to the test ground and I'll show you all the options you have to destroy or get around each of these turrets and traps. First, we are going to look into the auto turret, which you can now find in the electrical tab after learning it, instead of the trap tab. The best thing that you can do against it, if you can get into behind some kind of cover within its range, you can bait it out, and then just simply walk past by it. But it has been patched some time ago, and now it is not that easy to do that. And in some cases I believe it cannot be done. Most of the time this won't be an option, so let's see how you can get rid of it. If it's placed correctly and you cannot walk past by it and you don't have guns or explosives yet, you can use a compound bow and 100 arrows with fully charged shots to destroy it quietly. If you are raiding with explosives anyways and you want to be fast, the best method is to use 3 HV rockets. For that, you only need 3 metal pipes, 600 sulfur, and 900 charcoal. The next best thing would be F1 grenades, however, it is hard to aim with it outdoors, and usually you don't have this in your arsenal anyway. But indoors, it could be a useful weapon, and you would need 10 to destroy one turret. The tank costs 250 metal fragments, 600 sulfur, and 900 charcoal to craft. You can use 2 satchel charges too. It costs 2 ropes, 20 cloth, 160 metal fragments, 960 sulfur, and 1440 charcoal. It is not worth to use rockets on the turrets because you would waste a lot of sulfur on it. Now let's take a look at the traps in Rust. The landmines are usually placed outdoors randomly because not many players place it around their base as a defense system. However, if you run into them in the world and you want to get rid of them, it is best to put 2 arrows into the plate on top from a distance and it will explode. You can use 2 bullets as well. If you walk onto a landmine and you realize that you are standing on it and you have a friend nearby, they can disarm the mine like this. The bear or snap traps also usually are just randomly placed items in the world to annoy people and not to defend your base with. If you go near them, you can pick them up if you have building privilege, but if it's in proximity of a base, just put 1 arrow or a bullet into the top like you would do against a mine, and it will close up. The wooden floor spikes are sometimes used near around the foundations of a base or a little further away to prevent people from door camping. They are easy and fast to get rid of. The best method would be to use a flamethrower and around 25 low-grade fuel. You can use any melee weapon, including a rock, but it will always damage you when hitting the trap, even if you use a spear and you're further away. If you don't want to take damage, and don't have a flamethrower, and also you're in a hurry, you can shoot it. With shotguns, it would take only 6 handmade shells, which will cost you 15 stone, 30 sulfur, and 45 charcoal to craft. Or for example, with an AK, it would take 20 pieces of 5.56 rifle ammo to shoot it out, which costs you 70 metal fragments, 70 sulfur, and 105 charcoal to craft. Now let's take a look on the Flameturret. Usually you will find them inside bases guarding doors, and you can hear them from the other side of a wall. Best method against them to bait them and let them run empty without taking damage. If you can't do that, but you can get close by, you can hit it from behind with a hatchet, which costs you 75 metal fragments and 100 wood to craft, or a wooden spear for only 300 wood, or almost any tool. If you're in a hurry, you can use one satchel charge, which costs you 1 rope, 10 cloth, 80 metal fragments, 480 sulfur, and 720 charcoal. If you are rocket raiding, it is best recommended to use 1 HV rocket against it, which will cost you 1 metal pipe, 200 sulfur, and 300 charcoal. Next item on the list is the shotgun trap. Everything that we just learned about destroying a flameturret is true for the shotgun trap as well. However, in some cases, especially against more experienced builders, you will run into unbaitable shotgun traps, most likely the ones placed under this drop-down stair or something similar. In this scenario, you can use 5 F1 grenades like this. It is cheap, effective, and if done correctly, destroys all the traps under, not just the one. Be careful though, it's easy to blow yourself up. The 5 F1 grenades costs only 125 metal fragments, 300 sulfur, and 450 charcoal. Last but not least, we have the SAM sites that you will most likely run into at the biggest compounds and bases in Rust, and there are a few around on the launch site as well. So if you would like to get to the top of the main building with a minicopter, you would need to get rid of the SAM sites guarding the air. The ones at launch site can be approached on foot and can be destroyed by only 1 hatchet or even faster with 1 sword, which costs you 15 metal fragments and a metal blade. However, the ones placed on top of big bases or inside compounds are really hard to get into melee range with. If you want to get rid of them, it is best recommended to use 2 satchel charges, which costs you 2 ropes, 20 cloth, 160 metal fragments, 960 sulfur, and 1440 charcoal. If you can't get into proximity, you can use 1 to 2 incendiary rockets depending how the fire spreads. 1 incendiary rocket costs you 2 metal pipes, 253 low-grade fuel, 10 metal fragments, 610 sulfur, and 900 charcoal. To sum up, here's a table of all the shown methods and total costs calculated. Now you know how to deal with all the different types of turrets and traps in Rust. In the next episode we will talk about the deployables, such as furnaces, lockers, batteries, and workbenches. If you have any questions, ask me in the comments down below or during my live stream. All my links are in the description. Stay tuned. I hope this video will be useful for new and experienced players as well, that it will serve as a guideline when calculating the raid materials. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.